Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, ministers, Commissioner, dear Alan, dear colleagues from universities, dear colleagues, dear friends. It is with emotion and pride that I officially submit this report in your presence, Mr. President. This report commissioned by the Prime Minister, Édouard Philippe. This report covers research in France on artificial intelligence. It also concerns Europe, and we have to put it into the world context. There are a rich variety of different points of view in the world community. It is the result of a long work. It took us 6 months. It's also a synthesis that really was inspired by different reports, by the OPEX, by the CNIL, by different agencies. The report is the result of teamwork with Marc Schanauer, Yann Bonnet, Charles Liberté, and Charlotte Cornu, François Levin, Bertrand Rondepierre, a dream team bringing together different competencies in terms of computing, different sciences, philosophy, law, and human sciences in general. The combination of different talents which will enable us really to meet the challenge of AI. Artificial intelligence is everywhere, from science to transportation. We're talking about science and technology, but also economy, training, ethics, values, projects, fight against discrimination, for inclusion in order to better our daily lives and our environment. That is why during the mission, we extended the list of the contributors. 450 people participated to the hearings in France and outside, in London, Lisbon, Tel Aviv, Berlin, Beijing, in Bologna too. We didn't have the time to go to Quebec, but Quebec came to us because the Prime Minister of Quebec came to us and visited Mounia Majoubi in order to talk about AI. A wide public consultation. More than 1,600 people actually participated. There's a report from France's strategy, which was submitted today. Different contributions from my colleague parliamentarians. A huge amount of work done by my colleague and her whole team. And contributions from different think tanks and political think tanks in Paris and from the French regions, which also contributed to the work. What an enthusiasm. And so we really had to find a meaning to all that. Finding a meaning is being able to formulate guidelines or orientations, different directions, trying to understand all these contributions, trying to understand the mysterious algorithms, giving a meaning, means explaining to all that in artificial intelligence is for the whole of society. It also has a direct link to economic policy, to research, information, environment, ethics, education, health, mobility, agriculture, and defense. And I don't want here to go into the details. I really want to underline 3 major pillars. Sharing sovereignty, and experimentation. First of all, well, together, because we're curious and we all have to experiment. If we really want to harness artificial intelligence, we really have to invest in research, fundamental research, applied research, multidisciplinary research. We have to make sure that researchers work in good working conditions, because it's a question of emergency. And we have to work all together if we want to be confident in the face of future developments. And our future also depends on the way we will teach our children experiment and be creative. The second key word is sharing. Sharing knowledge is really the basis of all technological advances. We're talking also about international sharing. The example was the seminar this morning. Sharing knowledge between the public sector and private sector, multidisciplinary training, dialogue between hard sciences and human sciences. We have to reinforce this dialogue as well as international actions. And let's not forget that our country likes to bring together the whole world in order to share knowledge and think about the future. sharing of knowledge between experts and citizens, making sure that technological progress is at the service of all. Sharing because we have to make sure that it's not only a minority which have to who can take decisions. We have to include more women in science. We have to work together in order to make sure that the experts come from as many different backgrounds as possible. So we really have to harness the potential. We have to make sure that we don't repeat the past. When we talk about sharing, we also talk about sharing the data. It's a new solidarity, different from the traditional solidarity. We're not talking about sharing only a risk. We're talking about pooling data, thanks to algorithms, at the service of the whole of society. And I think it's important that the state really plays its role in order to facilitate communication between the different stakeholders. And finally, sovereignty. That doesn't mean dominating the world, because some say so. But that it means not being constrained to do certain things. We have to protect citizens according to the law within the framework of the GDPR. We have to support expertise in order to protect. We need the economic means. We need the industrial and material means. We have to decide which sector we should put forward first. We should not use algorithms without understanding them. We have to work on trust and set up the systems for independent supervision, systems which will check the algorithms. So experimentation, sharing, and sovereignty are the three pillars of this report. And France should play a leading role in Europe with her neighbor, Germany. Mr. President, it's a huge honor to be able to submit formally my report just before your disclosure of the French strategy. And I'm sure that this will really wake up France and the whole of Europe.